Hey, beautiful soul, welcome back to my channel. My name's Astara and I'm an angelic communicator and clairvoyant. Welcome back and welcome to the 1st of December. But if you are seeing this at any other time, then just know maybe it's coming up for some sort of relevance for you. We knew that Scorpio season was going to be intense. We knew that 2025 was going to be intense and November's going to be intense. We're now in Sagittarius and we kind of feel like there's been a lot of change in the dynamic between twin flames, the matrix twin and the awakened twin. Now, if you're watching this, I'm assuming you're the awakened twin, but sometimes we have cross watchers and there can be some matrix twins on here. If this is triggering, then maybe this isn't the video for you, because I've had a lot of guidance from the Angelic Council of Light and also questions from people regarding, well, I'm feeling like my twin isn't changing. I'm feeling like I'm ready to move on. I feel like I want a higher soulmate. I totally get this because even my guides are telling me to quit this, to move on, to have the self-initiation, to step into a different frequency, a different timeline, and no longer wait. Now, I don't feel like I've been waiting, but there's something about the twin flame journey which kind of feels like you're always in connection with your twin, you're always aware of them, you're always kind of feeling them through the bond, and you are sort of wondering if they're moving through their patterns, moving through their processes, their old conditions, and it seems to be like sometimes they're not changing. So if your twin is definitely changing and you're having a good time with them and things are working out and you're just going through a normal timeline, then this is not the video for you. I would switch off, go relax, go do something else. But if you're feeling like my guidance is telling me to move on, my matrix twin isn't changing, then maybe we should sit here and work it out together. So your inner guidance is your intuition. It's your instrument. It's the one thing that I believe that we need to get really, really purified and clear so that nobody can tell us what to do, not even a higher power. That we are sitting in our own autonomy, we are using our free will, we're absolutely not able to be manipulated, and we listen to ourselves, our truth, we get in contact with that, and we really enact that in every part of our lives. If you are looking at how I work, I often feel into my intuition, I work with my spiritual guidance. So I do not answer to anybody else, whatever they're saying to me. My own responsibility is to myself and to my team. And this is because my particular Earth mission requires me to be unable to be manipulated. And that might be yours too. So this is why I'm saying it. So you have your inner guidance and you also have your spiritual team. And some of you being divine feminines on this twin flame path in this collective, you're really tapped into your spiritual team. You're already awakened. You're already aware of your own angels. You're aware of your higher self connection. And you are aware of a higher power than you that is helping you work through these particular obstacles, this particular lifetime, that's helping you to enact your soul purpose and to get things done on the earth plane. So when we're looking at your twin flame, and if they're looking like the matrix twin is really deeply attached to their old patterns, they're deeply attached to old conditioning and old timelines, and they're not changing, they might still be going through a loop with a karmic. They might not be able to, for some reason, learn the lessons or be able to move past something. Now, we can all have compassion for that. Sometimes it can take a very long time to move out of a situation. But when I look at my twin, and this is my example, I just see someone who's incredibly stubborn. Maybe that stubbornness is part of me too. I have a very strong will, even though I don't look like it. I can understand that if they're reflecting that back to me, how they could get really stuck in something. But the trouble is, their stubbornness is not really allowing a process to occur, not allowing a natural flow of creative energy. To be stuck in stubbornness or any other pattern that requires you to stay fixed is actually like a death force. It's actually reducing your vibration. It's making you unwell. And the trouble is, if we had all the time in the world, if we all lived to like 100, 200, 300, 400, if we were like immortal, then, which we are on some level, but we're not in this lifetime, then maybe we could wait it out. Maybe we could wait for them to chip away at all the things that are keeping them stuck and them going in old timelines with past karmic relationships, still being fooled by other people, still giving loyalty to situations which is not them, which is not serving them, not helping them. So if we had all the time in the world, we could just say, okay, I can wait for them forever and another 50 years won't matter. But in my reality, and maybe this is yours, in 50 years, I won't be here anymore. It will be very unlikely I will be here anymore. I pretty much know the timeline that I will go out on in this life, and I'm not planning to really come back. We've got a small amount of time, and I'm aware that at this point in the journey, there are some of you on a twin flame journey where your matrix twin and waiting for them is holding you back. So this is not about abandoning your twin, it's not about rejecting your twin, it's about understanding and acknowledging that you have to evolve to the next level. You're ready for the next trip. You've had this trip and now you're ready for the next one. So sometimes on this journey, your matrix twin is mirroring your initial wounds. You are in this process with them to heal those wounds. Those wounds are often keeping you anchored in the old world, in old world frequencies, old paradigm frequencies, in distortions. I've talked a lot about distortions in all my videos. These are the energetic patterns that keep us out of true alignment with ourselves and with others. In the matrix, in this crazy matrix world, which is full of distortion, it is designed to always keep us slightly off, to keep us out of balance. But as you've been going through this twin flame journey as the awakened twin, you have been cleaning that up. You have been activating your true template, which is not distorted. You have been coming into that realization, and that has been helping your twin to do the same. But if they are continuing to choose fear, continuing to choose comfort over being able to expand, continuing to choose illusion over awakening, and control over surrender, then this is not going to flow into a love relationship. It's not going to flow into a project or a partnership or a collaboration that's going to actually work. So no matter how much potential they hold, and they do hold so much potential, I think this is why we wait so long for them and we waste all our time trying to encourage them to come forward, yet some of them are incredibly stubborn. And no matter how many signs you're seeing, which are beautiful and amazing and magical, no matter how much deep soul recognition you have and how deeply it runs between you, they may not choose the path of evolution in this lifetime. And the trouble with this is, as I've said, we only have a certain amount of time, and my twin is older than me. Like, he might possibly die, definitely before I will. And so this is the whole process, like passing on into this journey, helping us to evolve, getting the most out of being here in this incarnation and living your best life, living your soul light and enacting your soul mission. Now, I know that this is one of the hardest things to accept, and I do not ask anybody who is very much on the line that their twin is coming back, that everything's going to work out. I love that. Please, please, please stay on that version of yourself if that's what you want. This is for the ones who know on a deep level they've tried, they've accepted that their twin somehow is not going to shift, is not going to shift enough in this lifetime to be able to meet them. Because you have shifted, you've leveled up, you're on your new timeline, and they just can't seem to get it up. So that's how that's going to be. So this is what we want to talk about, because when your guidance is telling you, and this is when your inner guidance, your intuition, you know, you've already felt it. You've already felt this subtle shift, this knowing, this quiet nudge, this whisper saying, come on now, lady. It's time to rise. It's time to move forward. You cannot stay in a frequency that you've outgrown, waiting for a person to frequency shift enough to meet you. You might begin to see some repeating signs, and you might feel that gentle closing in your heart space. Hopefully a closing that is more in that direction, having a completion vibration rather than closing yourself to love. You might feel a gentle release, and you might notice that your mind might find it really difficult. The ego might have committed to this. It might be completely on, this is the pattern we're doing, this is what we're doing. But somehow we just need to reprogram that mind. You are in control. Bring your instrument back in And the inner guidance doesn't come from frustration. It doesn't come from revenge or rejection or trying to play a game out on them. It comes from alignment. It comes from like truly knowing inside yourself, I have done my best in this situation, and this person is not going to meet it. They're not able to meet it. And if you don't want to say going to meet it because that's a future projection, you can say they haven't been able to meet it. I have waited for them. I have given them a chance. I have given them X number of years of my life. And now it's time for me to move on. And if you get to that point, then please love yourself, forgive yourself, and it will feel peaceful. It will just feel like, oh yeah, it's time now. So if you're no longer vibrating at a frequency where stagnation begins to feel like connection, because that's what it can feel like, you can normalize feeling the stagnation as like waiting for them. And actually, the Matrix twins can play games as well. They can even enjoy the fact that you're waiting for them. It depends how distorted they are. Some of them might really get off on the idea that you're waiting for them, and they can take as long as they want. They're not pushed into anything. They can be completely out of alignment for as long as they like, and they're going to get away with it. Now that's a distortion talking. It's not who they really are, but you can see how they get there in their mind games. Now I want to have an aside here because something happened this morning to trigger this video. And I'm hearing the bell toll outside my house. So something happened. It's a Sunday morning. I was expecting an electrician to come and sort my electrics out in my house. They told me a time, so I got up really early to meet that time. Nobody turned up. So then I contacted them and they said, oh, don't worry, they won't be long. They'll be half an hour. It got to half an hour. They didn't arrive. Then again, I contacted them and they said, oh, they're going to be this time. And then we got close to that time. So then I phoned them and I said, where are you? Where are they? And they said, oh, blah, 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 blah. You know, they're going to be there soon. And I said, well, we could have told me that time in the first place. I had to get up really early. This is my Sunday morning. And then it clicked in my head. It was like, this person is breadcrumbing me. They're trying to give me something which doesn't actually exist. They're trying to give me a fantasy imagination through their will, through their manipulation, their agenda, to do something which is not actually happening. I just cancelled it. I said, okay, we'll cancel that then. Because I'm not willing to work with people who aren't going to turn up. Now, in England, it's a real issue to get tradespeople to turn up on time. And everyone's like, oh, we've got to forgive them because of this, that, and the other. It's a Sunday morning. They had no jobs before. They just couldn't be bothered to get out of bed. They couldn't be bothered to actually meet the time. Now, I would have been okay if they'd phoned me up saying it's going to be midday. And I've been, okay, it's going to be midday. I can sleep in, I can relax, I can go for a run, I can do everything. But because I was waiting for them, it really affected everything that I was doing. I couldn't go anywhere. It was a restriction. It was a control. It's a manipulation and control. And this man had the gall to say to me, well, we tried to fit you in before Christmas and we were doing you a favour. And then he put down the phone. And he thinks he's doing me a favour. And I thought, this man is delusional because in my reality, there is nobody here doing me a favour. There is no one in my house doing me a favour. They are selling me air. They're selling me something that doesn't exist. They're selling me fantasy. They're selling me mind matrix nonsense. But in this situation, in the distortions that we live in the matrix, this man really believes that he was doing me a favour. The reality shift was nobody was here doing anything for me. Nobody. I have an empty house with just me in it. Nobody was here doing anything for me. We are in this continual distortion. In the mind matrix, a lot of the masculine, the matrix mind, the mind games that go on, that they believe fantasy is reality, and it's not. Whereas we, as the awakened twin, are in reality. We are trying to create a world that is real without distortion. We're trying to create something here for the new earth, which is based on what we feel and know and sense to be real, and not what people are telling us is real, which is based on illusion. So thank you to that electrician, because I think this pushed me into doing this video, and to know that true alignment is coming from you saying to yourself, I trust myself here. I trust myself. And the higher spiritual concept here for you as an awakened twin is that if a matrix twin is refusing evolution, then another spiritual counterpart can step forward. Now, this is not a replacement. It isn't a betrayal, it's divine orchestration. There was a time on this journey where I said, and there's a part of me that still believes this, that there is no way I could be with anyone but my twin. But the truth is, if your twin is acting like a Wally, like he's acting like an idiot, and he won't change and transform and move on, then he has failed his ability to move timelines. Now, he might achieve that in 20 years' time, or 5 years' time, or 10 years' time, or decide when he gets to in his 80s and he can't walk anymore and he can't be a player to actually come and see you, but it's gonna be too late. It's gonna be too late because all the time the awakened twin is moving on. So your soul contract here isn't based on just this situation. It's based on your higher path, your higher frequency, continually with the Angelic Council of Light. They are encouraging us all on an individual basis to grow, to expand, to love ourselves, to really come into alignment with who we are and to love our lives, love being here, because that helps to build the new earth. And this quality of waiting continually, the frustration that builds up because the energy is movement, yeah? And when you're bringing in your divine plan for yourself and you meet your counterpart, your matrix twin, you can have the most incredible explosion of coming into alignment with your soul purpose, like feeling like everything is just clicking into place. And so your energy is actually surging, or your Kundalini energy is surging. You're beginning to move forward. Now, even though that pushes out all of our wounding and pushes out all the stuff that are blocks, when you get to a certain point, and this really is who this video is for, when you get to a certain point, you need to flow forward. And if you find yourself not flowing forward, it actually begins to become unhealthy. It begins to become toxic. It begins, that frustration builds up. It begins to be a negating principle. If you are asked to rise in yourself, then it's one of the biggest lessons we learn is that we have to leave behind what does not serve us, what does not match our frequency. And if you keep hooking into that, then unfortunately, it's going to keep you stuck. So you are moving to a new level of light. If your counterpart cannot meet that, then the counterpart that comes into your space, and no, they might not be your twin, but they could be even better than a twin. They could be your higher soulmate, your highest timeline here. Then this is the one who can meet you at a new level of light, love, presence, and consciousness. The higher soulmate will carry a higher frequency that your old dynamic cannot access. It won't pull you back into it. You'll already be ready for them. You'll already have the capacity for them. And you won't have to do this waiting process of going through so much trauma, of waiting for something that has potential but never actually unfolds, never actually becomes reality. I know this will hurt for a lot of people. I know to even get to this point, you've probably been through a lot of pain. You've probably been through a lot of hurt. And that releasing a matrix twin can feel pretty awful, but I do know some people have done it where they're just friends with them, they just accept where they're at, and then they also have a higher soulmate in their life. You might need to grieve this process. You might need to find a way to let go of any feelings of guilt or confusion or resistance. Somehow the ego is trying to release something that it was so fixed on, and might even be saying to yourself, well, this was my twin flame, I shouldn't let go, or how can I let go? Perhaps all of this process was a catalyst, that you've completed a lesson. And the pain is not a sign that you're wrong, it's a sign that you're actually shedding another timeline, which is, I let go of things that no longer serve me. I let go of what no longer matches my vibration and holds me back. So as your vibration is rising, you are expanding and you are actually integrating more light. There comes a point where your energy really becomes incompatible with, which is what I think I got to this morning with this electrician, inconsistency, avoidance, emotional unavailability, distortion, manipulation, confusion, karmic looping, and spiritual stagnation. That list, I think we should put that list and just throw it in the bin, because it doesn't matter who you're dealing with. It doesn't matter if I'm dealing with a tradesperson, an electrician, my friend, a matrix twin, a person in a shop. I think we need to dissolve this nonsense now. I'm going to read the list again. inconsistency, avoidance, emotional unavailability, distortion, manipulation, confusion, karmic looping, and spiritual stagnation. This is how we're going to dissolve the matrix. This is how we're going to say, no, we're not going to accept this distortion, because unfortunately, I see a lot of this in guys. If you saw my video, I'm not going to call them men, I'm going to call them guys. I see a lot of this distorted behavior in guys, meaning people who haven't moved into their masculine energy in the full way, haven't matured into being a man. I see this behavior sometimes in women as well. It's interesting. I've had a few people who've had really tricky situations in their life, but they keep playing a number on themselves, like they won't allow themselves to move on. And often they're doing one of this list on themselves. So this new frequency that you are stepping into is not going to be doing that. It's not going to be doing any of those things. And so you won't tolerate this in anyone around you. You are no longer going to resonate with like being half met, being breadcrumbed. You're no longer going to resonate with fantasy, potential, fantasy. You know, these men do me a favor. No one's here. They're not doing me any favors. So you need presence. And actually, I'm stepping into presence in my masculine energy. I can feel it. And you no longer resonate with pain. You don't want that in your relationships. You want partnership. You want collaboration. You want connection. You want communication. You want reciprocity. We need all these things because your soul is not allowing you to shrink anymore. You have expanded. So if you're feeling guided to do this and to let go, I want you to know that I'm behind you. I think this is a good thing. So if you're feeling that quiet truth and your matrix twin is not rising with you, then trust your guidance. If you are a little bit like on the fence, then just know that if your twin does step up and they come down the road and they come to meet you and they've changed everything and they're not doing the list that I repeated twice, then yeah, you can change your mind again. That's the beauty of being in a human body and having free will. You're not being abandoned in any situation. You're being asked to redirect your energy into a space of higher alignment, higher love, because that's really what you wanted in the first place. Higher resonance, higher authenticity, and higher partnership. Your journey is not collapsing, it is elevating. And if your matrix twin is just being hopeless and cannot meet you, then just know that someone else is going to come aligned, awakened, and resonant with you. Your soul did not bring you this far to leave you unfulfilled. Your evolution is not going to be a punishment, it's going to be your liberation. Because as we shut down one world, a whole new world opens up. So trust, please trust what your heart knows, and trust what your angelic guidance, your own spiritual guides are trying to tell you. Trust the frequency you've grown into. Does it feel better to be in this frequency? Does it feel nice and strong? And trust that love is not leaving your life, it's transforming into something more aligned. And if this message is resonating with you, then thank you for joining me. Thank you for making the effort to be here. I think at this stage on the twin flame journey, I'm aware that I'm a person who doesn't really go back. If I've made a decision to leave something, I'm really like, that's it. I never go backwards because I find it awkward to go over the same ground. I don't like going over the same ground. I work things through very, very thoroughly, which I'm sure you have as awakened twins. And there is no point in me going back and doing the same thing again. There is no point in me tilling the soil 50,000 times. It's ready for me to plant new seeds. And so that makes me, as a character, I'm a little bit nervous about that because I know now that if my twin comes back in, it's going to be a no. And that can feel very uncomfortable to firmly make a decision, but it also feels quite liberating. But I have to say, there's huge fear in me as I'm making that decision inside of myself. And I will have to step through these processes one step at a time, listen to myself, listen to my guidance, really get aligned with this big decision. So, on that note, trust your evolution. Trust your evolution, trust who you are, and know that everything you're creating in your life is going to be just as wonderful as you wanted it to be with your twin. So lots of love to you. If you want to come and do a soul session with me, I do lovely soul sessions with people where we look at how to move forward and how to maybe connect with your twin or dissolve things between you and your twin to make things easier on this path to come to some sort of union. I'm definitely on that page for a lot of people who need that and want that. This video was really just cleaning up this end of Scorpio season, this big shift we've made for all those people, all those beautiful awakened twins who want to dive into a new aspect in their lives. Go to my link tree, my Instagram, my website, and you will see how to book with me, and I look forward to seeing you in the future.